Today we have a little bit of a rant. I'm really annoyed about this. It's not going to change anything, I know, but getting it off my chest, vocalizing things. I don't want to pay for a therapist, so this kind of helps me out a little bit. Maybe you'll find it cathartic. I want to talk about the worst thing around the Marvel's Spider-Man universe, and I'm talking about the Insomniac Spider-Man. I can't say it because I'm also an insomniac in real life, recording this at 3:49 a.m. in the morning because I don't sleep right. The fans around these games are just really big pieces of work. Now, before you're like, but I like the game, and go leave a dislike, get really angry, and stop listening in the comments and just go off, I'm not talking about all the fans, all right? I like these games a lot. I've made several videos about these games. I will make several more, because at the end of the day, I really like the Insomniac universe for Spider-Man. I like it a lot, but I don't think it's perfect. And that's okay. What's odd to me, though, is that online, these games in particular, more than a lot of others I've seen, are just immune to any kind of criticism. Now, when I see criticism around these games that I think is stupid criticism, like, but the game has to be longer to be good. If it's not longer, it's not good or worth my money. I call that kind of thing out because I find that dumb. Because I'm like, okay, well, I'm paying for quality. I want a good game. I don't want a bloated game. If I want to buy bloated games, there's plenty of games that are, hundreds of hours long that I can buy that don't need to be, and very few that are actually that long that it actually benefits the game. There are some, but there are not a lot. So for me, I'm like, okay, when I see criticisms like that, or criticisms like, for Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man was too nice to the police. He should be beating the shit out of the police. This is propaganda. All right, I'm going to make fun of those takes. I'm going to say these are not valid criticisms. Because at the end of the day, a lot of those criticisms are coming from people who are like, I really don't own a PS5 or a PS4 or whatever, and so I need to find a reason to dislike this game so I can be like, see, I didn't need it anyway, It's like the SpongeBob clip of like, I don't need it, and that's what people are telling themselves about a game, so they hate on it. If you are hating on a game, hating on a movie, hating on a comic book, whatever, with invalid criticisms that can very easily be dismissed, that just don't make any sense, yes, those criticisms are open to their own criticism. You can criticize people criticizing things. That's fine. I will all the time say, hey, I don't like this Spider-Man suit, here's why. And 500 people who like it will be like, no, I do like it, and here's why. Cool, that's fine. That's an opinion open to criticism. But what I see so often around Marvel's Spider-Man universe and Insomniac games is a weird Christ complex where people genuinely seem to think that Insomniac is the savior of gaming, and that if you criticize, question, or just don't like even a tiny element of something that they do, you are hating on them, you hate Spider-Man, you hate these games, you're not a real fan, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not even going to draw attention to very specific examples of this on Twitter, Reddit, YouTube comments, all these other places, because the people who do this are so stupid that I don't think they have the mental capacity or ability for introspection and self-reflection to actually realize that what they're doing is bad. They don't actually have the ability to see their words on a screen and say, oh shit, I should feel bad. I shouldn't have said that. I'm a clown. They just say like, yeah, and I stand by that, and I'm going to triple down. The amount of things around these games that are just unacceptable is mind-boggling. Here's an example of this, and something that I don't think true Spider-Man fans ever stood for. I don't care if that's no true Scotsman or whatever someone's liberal arts teacher taught them in a logical fallacy class. People went bonkers about the Raimi suit in Spider-Man 1. There was death threats, there was rape threats, there was all kinds of stuff being thrown around at Insomniac developers. That's not okay. And hell, the fact that people now who enjoy that suit have to be lumped in with the people who did that is pathetic and sad, right? There has always been a group of Spider-Man fans in particular that are overzealous to the point where they are just borderline criminals themselves. They're just lunatics. And that sucks. And that fandom portion of Spider-Man seems to really rear its head around Marvel's Spider-Man. whenever someone has a criticism of it. But regardless, my buddy Beware the Batman over on Twitter, he posted a little response to a question of what people thought about Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and his response literally started by saying the game was a good game, that he really liked it, but he wished that they had taken a little longer to maybe include a couple more features instead of having to add them in at later dates. And some people agreed, but there were people just losing their minds about this, telling him to shut up, getting really angry about this, providing no response other than just, I'm mad. And those are the kinds of people that I'm talking about in today's video, because I get that anytime I say anything mildly negative or constructive about these games. It's very weird to me. I get it even more with this series than beloved properties like Arkham, which I know a lot of you know me for talking about that series, and that's cool. I can say something bad about Arkham, and I will get the few brain dead losers who have nothing else going on that get really angry about it. But for the most part, it's just kind of chill. It's like, hey, at worst, it's like, okay, well, that's kind of stupid. I don't see why you think that. And it's like, okay, fair enough, whatever, I don't care. But like the amount of stuff like end yourself or you need to drop dead around the Spider-Man games is just weird to me. It's been directed at developers. It's been directed at other fans who have critiques of the games. It's been directed at people just trying to enjoy the games. I have been told before, you don't swing right in the game in your footage. Oh, I can do this better than you. And like, you're not a real Spider-Man fan because of this, that, and this other thing. I just want to know what it is about these games in particular that brings up this element of losers. Because that's what this is to me. These are fictional properties. This is make-believe. That's what this is. I'm not saying it can't matter to you. Make-believe stories, made-up fiction, has been some of the things that have given purpose to my life in some of the darkest times of my life. Call that whatever you want. I'm not afraid to admit it. It's true of most people. You'll find a movie, you'll find a book, you'll find a story, a song that inspires you. And those things, you know, in some of your darkest moments, it's like you hold on to that and you're like, I want to be like Captain America. I want to be like Batman. I want to be strong of will like Superman and be inspirational to others. Those are great things to strive for and want to be. Those are things we get from fictional properties, from make-believe stories. And a lot of these things, you know what these are? They are evolutions of the campfire tales. They're evolutions of cavemen sitting around in a little cave around a campfire telling each other stories, or, you know, people drawing on walls to pass along myth. That's what these things are in modern day, be them games, movies, etc. And that's great to be passionate about. But it's so weird to me the amount of people who just define themselves with one fictional character, one fictional story, whatever. I'm talking about people who should be able to go outside, make some friends, maybe have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or whatever. Maybe they're asexual. Maybe they just find a special interest and they enjoy that thing and they make friends and connections. They go to work. They have a well-adjusted life. They live a long life. They contribute to society and they pass on and leave people behind them that are glad they were there. The amount of people who do this kind of stuff, who come off like pathetic losers, who have nothing going on in their life except this one fictional thing, who get mad at you, who will dogpile you, who will send you threats, who will attack you viciously, who will go after family members, who will try and smear your name over just like, I don't like that there was a few glitches, or boy, I wish they had included New Game Plus at launch, and just get vehemently angry is so weird. And I truly do think also that the idea of entitled gamers goes into this, because I'm not going to sit here and act like there aren't people who are entitled in every avenue of their life. There absolutely are. But there has also been this strong push, especially in games journalism and in the media, to have this idea that fans themselves are all entitled. Like, if you don't like Captain Marvel, it's because you're a sexist and entitled pig who hates women and you're not a real fan of Marvel, that kind of thing, right? You'll see those kinds of takes that are just insane flying around. And I think that a lot of people who are consumers of media, and that's their entire identity, is just consuming media, they've latched on to that idea. They've latched onto the idea that anyone who criticizes something is a hater. Anyone who has a problem with something, it must be an unfair criticism, or they must have some ulterior motive. And instead of being able to separate it when that is actually the case, Because there are times where that is actually the case, where someone is just hating on something just to hate it. Instead of being able to recognize those specific cases, they just have assumed anyone who doesn't love their thing to death and doesn't rate Marvel Spider-Man 100 out of 10 and isn't willing to sacrifice 50 virgins in order to get into Spider-Man Valhalla, those people must be not true fans. They must hate the product. They must want Insomniac to go out of business. They must hate PlayStation. And it's so weird to me around these games in particular, just how insane certain groups of people are. How you can't have discussions without it getting heated and angry. How you can't actually get into this game and say the good and the bad, the things you love, the things you hate, maybe the things you like, the things you don't, without causing a war. It's weird, and I don't understand it. And I just wanted to make this video kind of ranting about it because I find it very pathetic and sad. I have a lot of choice words about the people who do this kind of stuff because it's just weird. I don't understand it. It is okay to enjoy these games, or just straight up, if you don't like them, cool. I think you're wrong. I think that you probably should give them another run through because I think they're very fun. But at the end of the day, maybe it's just not for you. Or maybe there are things that really don't click with you that you really don't like. Cool. I'm still going to like them with or without you. That is fine. And you know what? Opinions are definitely open to be made fun of a little bit, criticized, poked at, whatever. But it's gotten so personal and weird and angry around Marvel Spider-Man and Insomniac that it just is uncomfortable. It's not fun to talk about because you know if you make one tiny detail mistake, or maybe you even don't, right? It'll be like, oh, I don't know, Mary Jane's foot size. It's like, well, no, let's kill this guy. Let's get him. And it's like, what are we doing here, man? I don't get it. It's bizarre and weird. I'm interested to hear your take down in the comments because I don't know. I don't get it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Spider-Man fans, most of them are just normal, cool people who just enjoy the character. But there are people around these characters that are bizarre to me. And another topic for another day that's so weird to me is how many people love superheroes that are the polar opposite of them. Like they'll love Spider-Man, but they don't want to be anything like Peter Parker and Spider-Man in real life. They just want to be a piece of shit and a jerk. It's weird to me how many superhero fans in particular are like that. But Spider-Man, he takes the cake for having just like tons of fans that are just dicks. So let me know what you think. See you in the next one. Have a fantastic day. As always, everyone, stay shway.